The ideas of economists and political philosophers, both when they are right and when they are wrong, are more powerful than commonly understood. Indeed, the world is ruled by little else, practical men, who believe themselves to be quite exempt from any intellectual influence, are usually the slaves of some defunct economists. John Maynard Keynes. In this video, we're going to talk about Adam Smith, the man who is widely regarded as the father of modern economics. We take a closer look at Adam Smith's influential ideas on free markets, the division of labor, and the role of government in society.
Before we start the video, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, this is part of a 5-video series about the economists that changed the way we view the world. The greatest economists that ever lived. So make sure to view the other videos when they're released. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, share it to your friends. This would be very helpful for me.
Adam Smith was born in Scotland in 1723. He attended the University of Glasgow and later studied at Oxford University. His background was actually in moral philosophy. After completing his education, Smith returned to Scotland and began teaching it as a professor at the University of Glasgow. During his time, Smith became interested in the economic and social issues of the day and began to develop his ideas on natural wealth and the working of the markets. In 1776, Smith published his most famous work, The Wealth of Nations. This book was an instant success and is now regarded as one of the most important works in the history of economics and social science in general. In The Wealth of Nations, Smith argued that wealth was not a zero-sum game, and promoted the idea that market forces working for their own interests and competing with each other drove human prosperity, something which was nicknamed the invisible hand. Adam Smith also advocated for free trade, which was contrary to the common economic theory of his time, called mercantilism, which argued that the world had a finite amount of wealth and resources, and that countries should export as much as possible and import as little as possible to get as much gold and silver on their hands. He claimed that free trade would reduce prices and increase purchasing power, and that free trade between two countries allowed each of them to specialize in what they are good at making, and not bother producing stuff they weren't good at making both sides better off. This claim resonates to this day. For example, after Britain left the European Union, it has seen significant shortages of workers in fields such as transportation, and according to research by the London School of Economics, it is estimated there has been a 6% increase in food prices due to Brexit. Another thing that Adam Smith promoted is what's called the division of labor, which is the idea that production should be broken down into smaller tasks, done by specialized workers, instead of one person trying to produce everything from start to finish. Smith used the example of print production to illustrate this point. He argued that if one person tried to make a pin from start to finish, it would take a long time and the result would not be very good. However, if the production process was divided into small specialized tasks, each worker could focus on their area of expertise. This was a result in higher productivity and better quality pins. A good example from history in which we see this theory come into reality is how Henry Ford managed to revolutionize the car industry. Previously, cars were generally expensive, complex, and reserved for the wealthy. They were often handmade, and the manufacturing process was slow and labor-intensive. Then, however, Henry Ford introduced the assembly line, which is a manufacturing process where, based on the division of labor, product is assembled using series of standardized steps, with each worker performing a specific task in the production process. Through this, Ford was able to increase the speed and efficiency of the manufacturing process, reducing the time and cost required to produce a car. This allowed him to make cars more affordable and accessible to the average American, which had a profound impact on society. Although Adam Smith did believe that private markets with a minimal amount of government intervention drive human prosperity, he wasn't an anarcho-capitalist, and did believe that the government had a role to play in society in order to provide stuff like security, infrastructure, and education. Also, he recognized the potential dangers of corporate power. In particular, Smith was concerned that corporations could use their economic power to influence government policies and undermine the competitive market system. The amount of real-life cases of this happening are countless, ranging from Johnny Rockefeller, the oil tycoon and monopoly from the late 19th century, supporting high trade barriers, to Jeff Bezos today promoting environmental regulations and the $15 minimum wage, not out of some social justice aspirations, but rather to harm small businesses which compete with him. Smith died in Edinburgh, Scotland, on July 17, 1790, at the age of 67. Not a lot of men helped influence the way we see the world like Adam Smith did. His contributions to economic thought, particularly his ideas on the role of markets and the division of labor, revolutionized the way we understand the working of the economy and helped pave the way to the world we know today.
What personally really amazes me about Adam Smith was how good his understanding of the world was, compared to the standard of his time, like the mercantilist standard, which was like kind of fucked up, ranging from his understanding of how important prices and competition is to the economy, to his fear of corporations, or that corporations could get too strong and harm the free market, which is why I think Adam Smith was one of the greatest people to ever live.